Hello and welcome to Live Weapon Call and Chat Support System Part 9. I am Kamran Majdani, and in this video we are going to complete the Firebase user session system inside our Live Weapon Call and Chat Support System. But before continuing, I would like to request, if you have not liked or followed WatchMeCode Facebook page, then please follow and like the page, and if you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, then please subscribe the YouTube channel and click the bell icon to receive the updates. And to follow along, you can visit demos.azuz.host/azuzalive not to see the update in real time. And don't forget to share it with your friends who are willing to learn the React.js and or designing the front end UI. By the way, we are not building the UI in this video. We are finishing the functionality for our support system. In the previous video, we have designed the welcome box for our Azuz Live support system, and now we will add the system so that we can get the username, email, question, and when the user will hit continue, we will start the chat session. Wa alaikum assalam, Abdul Hadi, how are you? Well, let's go with the current code. Let's open it and let's go to core.js. Now we need to add the loading box inside our guest box, and we have the guest box method right inside the Azuz Live Support box class. Let's go to base.js and we need to create a class, and let's call it cover extends react.component, and let me hit the return key a couple of times so that our code move to center of the screen. Let's add the render method, add a return statement, and now we need to add the loading div. Let's add a div, give it a class name of cover or loading cover, and give it absolute class, that is ABS. Let's close the div. Well, I have increased the font size so that if you are having difficulties while watching this stream, so you should be able to watch it clearly. Okay, now we need to add our loading indicator, and we need to add just a second. Please just a second, I am actually responding to a couple of, well, I'm back. Now I need to create a constant, and let's call it loading, or I guess we should create, keep in constant for now, loading, and let's add an arrow method, and now we need to return the SVG for our loading indicator. And I have already created the spinner in another tutorial, but let's recreate it. Let's add an SVG, give it a class name of spinner, and give it a style as we are using the JSX. So let's use the JSX tags for style. Let's add the width pixels, and we need to add the width and fill size for now, and add width plus pixels. Let's add height and add width plus pixels, and now we need to add the view box, and view box should be like 0 space 0 and 44 space 44, and let's add a React ID, and that should be 0.1.0. Now I need to add this circle, and give it a class name of path, and the CX should be 22. It is actually half of the view box 44, and CY should be 22 as well, and radius should be 20, and the fill should be none, and stroke width should be S, and let me replace the fill with S. It is actually the stroke width. And let's add the data React ID to something like 0.1.0.0, and great, we are good to go. So we should add the ABC, or let's leave it for now. Great, let's go back to our props.css, and let's add the CSS for our spinner, and let's add at keyframes and call it rotate, and on 100% let's add transform rotate, and rotate should be 360 degree, and now I need to add dot spinner and dot spinner dot path. Okay, let's go to spinner, and we should add animation, or let me quickly add the return statement a couple of times. Now let's add the animation that is rotate, and we should be using the 2 seconds to complete this animation, and it should be infinite. Let's add the index to 2, and inside the path let's add stroke dash array. It should be 1 to 150, and stroke dash offset should be 0. Stroke should be RGB, and let's use a lighter RGB code. And after that let's add stroke line cap to around, and animation should be dash, which we are creating shortly. 1.5 second is in out, infinite. Okay, let's create add keyframes. Let's call it dash, and for dash we will be using a couple of keyframes. One for 0%, second is for 50%, and third is for. Okay, let's add stroke dash array should be 1 to 150, and stroke dash offset should be 0. Let me duplicate this one, and now I need to add 90 to 150, and offset should be something like -35, and for 100% we will be using 90 to 150 as well, but this time the dash offset should be something like 1 to 4. Let's save it, go back to our base.js, and inside our sport box let's add the cover class. Let's save it, and let's go to our domain and reload. Click, and if we have unchanged text, not great. Inspect, go back to loading cover. Oh, we forgot to add base. Go to cover, and let's add, let me rename it to, well, keep it loading for now. Let's use a div, give it a class name of ABS and ABC for absolute center, and inside this div let's use loading, and give it the width of something like 50 and stroke of 2. Let's save it, and now reload. Click, and now we have a little circle rotating around. Let's click and inspect, and we have an issue with our spinner, and the issue is if we are properly adding the spinner path, why it is overriding the animation. Animation dash 1.5 second is dash, oh, it is a spell mistake, and now we have a rotating circle loading indicator right here, and let me correct it right here, and it is Alright, great. Let's save it. Go back to base and use something like 4. Now let's go to props and use loading cover and save it. And I guess we have not added the ABC class as well. Give it class top 50%, left 50%, transform, translate, negative 50% and negative 50%. Let's save it. Go back to domain and reload. Click, right click, inspect. Now select the loading cover and add top 0, left 0, right 0, and the bottom to 0. Z index should be something like 99. Background should be FFF. Now we need to add or reduce the opacity to, I guess, 9.5 is good. Great. Now let's copy and paste inside loading cover and save it. And I guess we are doing something wrong with our stroke and stroke width. It is actually the capital width. That's why it is not working perfectly. And if we reload now and click on the box, we have an heavy circle indicator. Great. Now we need to add the logic to display this loading indicator. Let's go to support box and inside this state let's add a loading to false, and inside cover let's wrap it with the curly brackets and add self.state.loading and cover. Now if the state is loading, it will render the cover. Click, and now we have the cover gone. Great. Let's go back to start session, and inside the start session let's add on click and let's add a method. Let's add a logic of, I guess we should create a separate method instead to keep the code clean. Start session, and let's simply call self.start session. Now we need to declare wall self equal this, and let's add if full name, email, question. Okay, let's add if self.state.fullname equal null, and now we need to add here the toast, and I have not created the toast class so far. Let's create one. Let's go to we need to add a toast. Let's go to Well, let's add a div and give it a class name of those toast, and let's use the fixed class and font n. And let's go back to core.css, and inside the right after this head, let's add .those dash box .those toast. Let's save it. And let's save it. And I guess we should add I'm on it. Let's close the div. It is only I'm adding the text so that we can actually see where we have Tahali Adil. Actually, I am not in the mood of creating the animation for now, so I am using the jQuery with React, and I'll remove it later, of course. So don't panic. Ta-da! Okay. Okay, let's go back to our domain, reload, click, and now we have our toast. Let's add background to something like 2727, and left should be 0, right should be 0, and top should be 0, or I guess we should use 50. Color should be F, not important. And let's use the padding to something like 8 pixels, 12 pixels, and the Z index should be 10. And let's add transform translate Y to something like -10 pixels, -10 pixels. And we need to hide it. Actually, if we can use a really high number, but we need to change the ZeusBot property of overflow hidden. Let's go back to Zeus core.css, and inside the Zeus dash box, let's add overflow hidden. Save it. How to learn coding? Well, this is an interesting question, but you need to start from scratch, Farooq Ahmed Bhai, and start with something like HTML, CSS, or maybe JavaScript for the scripting purpose. But you need to follow. Well, I have an ongoing course for JS. You should definitely check the page. Let's go back to toast, and let's reduce it for now. And now we have JDindex 10. Select this head and use the Z index to 11 and background to FFF. Great. Copy and paste inside. Great. Now we have the slide in and slide out effect. Let's use a higher number, something like -200. Now let's copy and go inside where we have this is dosed. Okay, let's paste and save. And now we need to create an jQuery method, because a lot of people are complaining about using the jQuery inside the React, but for now I am trying to focus on the functionality, and I will create the animation with JavaScript later. So well, let's go to okay, let's go to base and create one more constant. Oops, my bad. Okay, let's create a constant and call it just toast. We need a message and timeout, and we need to add toast to null, and let's add null equals not equals to this.toast and clear timeout. Those are toast. And now we need to add well, we should create a method, or we should use, well, let's hard code the jQuery and we will remove it later. And inside those box we need to select this was toast dollar use box dot those toast dot html should be message, and we need to create those toast dot css pasty, or let's add a transition, and the transition should be y to 5, and we need to add one more chain. It should be 0, and we need to add I guess we should, I'll keep it this way for now. Okay, now we need to add if timeout is greater than 0, and we should add toast equals set timeout. Let's create a method, and it should be timeout star, and simply we need to move all the way up to -200, and this is it for now. Let's save it and we need to, well, give me a couple of minutes, I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. Well, it is hard to maintain the, well, leave it. Okay, let's go back to code.js, and inside start session we will call those toast, and the message should be enter your name, and let's use the 5 seconds. And now we need to focus, that is self.fullname dot focus. Let's quickly check it, save, and go back to domain reload. Click, click, and now we have our toast right here. We need to reduce the font size. It is too much. Let's use S14. Continue, and I guess font, and let's use font B. Continue. Oh, if we can use font L, yeah, font L is good, but we need to reduce the font size to S13. Great. Let's go back to base, code.js, and inside the toast let's use font L is 30. Great, save it and reload. Now click and click continue, and we have enter your name. Great. Now we need to add one more effect so that we have a lot more feel to the client that something is going on. I am thinking about checking the whole sport box so that, well, go to base, and we will use the transition as well, and we should add const shake, and let's use elim for element, and we will be using elim.transition, and we need to shake it side by side. So let's go to this box, and we need to add transform translate x, and let's use -10 and +10, x to 10, and the duration should be 200, and let's use -10. Let's repeat it a couple of times and move it back to 0. Now let's go back to code, start session, and let's call shake $.those box. Now let's reload, and now if we click on the continue button, great, we have the shake effect, but we need to speed up the process, like use 100. Reload, click continue. Oh great, that is great, we have a perfect shake effect. We need to add one more thing to complete this shape effect, and that is if we can slide down the body, inspect, and we should move the gas box to the height of this box. Okay, now we need to add one more thing, and that is let's add the Zeus dash box, and we have gas box, and use the transition, and transition should be $.ZeusToast.outer height. I guess this is it. And after that we need to move back the transition complete to 0. Great, let's save it, go back to our domain and reload, click continue. Great, now we have perfect shake effect with our toast, so that we can show an error. Click one more time. Wow, what have we done? That is amazing. Click. Well, I am loving it. Wow, 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 that is great. Okay, let's move on. Go back to core, and now we need to add a method so that we can check or validate the email address. I guess we should use okay, let me check one more thing. Okay, I have quickly copied the function of validating email address. You can obviously use the regex function from Google, and let's just quickly copy it so that we can save some time. Let's add a const validate email equals, and we need to add email. And great, let's go back to core, and now we need to add else if self.state.email equals null or not validate email, and if we have spelled it correctly, validate email. Okay, that is self.state.email. let's add valid email address, and now we need to focus this self.email, and great, now we need to copy one more time. Let's add if self.state.question is null, we need to add write your query, let's call it query. Write your query, and it should be self.questions.focus. Else we need to create add self.setState, and we need to update loading equal true. Let's save it. Let's save it. Go to our domain and reload, and we have an error. Oh, I have saved it. Let's reload it, and I guess the file is not saved. Save it. Great, now reload it, and the error is gone. Let's click continue. It is asking for the full name, and let me add my name. Let's add the invalid email. Click, and it is asking, oops, enter your name. What the hell? Self.fullname, and full name wall equals state.fullname equals null. What is going on? On change text, I guess we have something. Unknown event handler property, it will be ignored on change text. Or let's use on change, actually it is my bad. It is actually on change. I have messed it with the React Native. It should be e dot current target dot value. And let's use e and remove the on-chain text. That is my big mistake. So that, well, reload. And now if we click on continue and add command continue, and now we have test, and it is asking for a valid email address as well. Now if we add example.com, it is, oh great, write your query. Hello, please help me. Click continue, and we have a loading right here. Well, this is it for this video, and in next video we will update our Firebase session and auto login, and we will move to our sport box. Before leaving, I would like to request, if you have not like my WatchMeCode page, then please like and follow, and if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, then please subscribe and click the bell icon, and bye bye.